He's wondering why you apparently killed some of your own men.
On top of that, we had an access problem.
What happened?
I take no pleasure in this, so I hope you guys are, in fact, sitting comfortably. This is bad. Rebirth is genuinely bad. I know this is kind of a bandwagon to jump onto now, and I frankly don't care. I love the Jurassic fucking Park series. The World series is, yeah, very funny. The Jurassic World series doesn't, yeah, it doesn't measure up at all. Like, I know I made an entire video dissing Jurassic Park 3, but this is a head and shoulders above whatever this steaming pile of abortion dust is. But anyhow, I'm going to go through the plot and then I'm going to talk about why it's crap. And if there's any redeeming features, we're going to go into them, which there's not. But anyhow, here's the plot real quick. I'm not even going to give you a cut. I'm just going to fly straight to it because that's how little I give a shit about this fucking film. Bloody hell, maybe I do need to get a life. I'm too angry about some kind of bit of media. Anyway, so the plot starts out with the Snickers wrapper getting sucked into a HVAC system, ventilation system, whatever you want to call it, and it completely buggers the entire scenario here, the entire facility. Right, okay, so the D-Rex is somehow able to get a hold of this Snickers wrapper, turn it into a key, and break himself out. That part I am joking about, but making the D-Rex pretty much Hannibal Lecter or Harry Houdini would probably actually save this film and just ridiculous comedy value. But genuinely, when I say Snickers wrapper, I mean Snickers wrapper. It is literally a Snickers wrapper. All right, okay. So one of the scientist people gets stuck in the door, and a friend has to shut the door. So he gets turned upside down and stuffed inside the mouth of the D-Rex and doesn't come back out again. Believe it or not, I think this was the film's way of telling you that all the dinosaurs are free now because the D-Rex is out. But that's about as far as they go with it until the end. Anyway, so we then go into what I'm assuming is New York. I don't know, I'm not American, but it looks a lot like it. And they're talking about how no one cares about dinosaurs anymore. And the fact that all the dinosaurs are now regulated to the equator with a couple of key pockets of them not doing that. Like, I imagine the Pyroraptor that we see in Domination or Dominion or whatever that weird film was. Also cutting about still in the Arctic, considering they made a point in Chaos Theory about it being able to survive there, but we're getting off topic. So the point is, all the dinosaurs are at the center of the Earth, i.e., the midriff of the Earth, I should say, and that's where they exist now. And then we got evil man here, and he wants to go to some crazy island where they're experimenting on dinosaurs and get blood from three of the biggest species because of their hearts. And he's recruited Scarlett Johansson, who is a former MARSOC, now mercenary, with PTSD and a heart of gold. How do we know she has PTSD? Well, she just straight up tells you. Anyhow, we then need someone who knows dinosaur behavior for some reason. So instead of recruiting Alan Grant or any of the key cast, or even Owen Grady, who's probably still in good shape, they decide to grab some random guy out of a museum and they get him on board really quickly. Later, we end up on the island. We meet, on the boat. We meet Zora's crew. That's Scarlett Johansson, and it's a hodgepodge of ex-military types, and they've all got their own mini traumas. And one of them has this amazing gun that's gonna take them all out with maybe tetrodotoxin or conefish poison. I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention, but he dies quickly when the Spinos attack, but successfully they managed to get some mosasaur blood. That was cool. But the mosasaur is still there, and it knocks a few of them off their boat, including some sweet family that they decided to divert from the mission to go get because Mashallah Ali has lost his son, and he can't abide with kids suffering, even if the dad is 100% at fault for doing all this. So anyway, during this boat assault, the dad also nearly gets his leg ripped off, and the bitchy daughter is, well, falls off the vessel and lands in the water, and apparently that's the bad guy's fault. because he didn't save her. Then her boyfriend jumps in after her, and a couple of people die on the beach. And then Scarlett Johansson has some kind of contingency plan about the helicopters visiting over this compound at a certain time at night. Then we go on a bit of a trek into the jungle because the mission's still on. They've got no weapons and no way of defending themselves against any of this because it's bad to kill dinosaurs or some shit. And then we come across some very sneaky titanosaurs or whatever they are, very large sauropods, and we manage to get blood from them. Yippee-ki-yay. Then we end up in this facility and we find the family, and then it's time for the bad guy to be the bad guy. I remember that there was a bit about Quetz in there, but you know, whatever. Another guy dies in that. End up at the facility and it all lights up, and then we see the D-Rex. And the D-Rex, we don't need to get some blood from that because we've already completed our mission. But now the bad guy's got a bad guy, and well, we're now into the end of the film because bad guy gets eaten. Mahershala Ali runs away with a flare trying to save a little girl. That works out, and everyone sails away happily ever after Mahershala Ali shoots off a second flare that he was concealing in his anus, and now we are at the end of the film.
Wow.
First things first, the characters have got horrific plot armor. First of all, I'm going to talk about the most egregious. It's not chronological, but I'm going to do my best, all right? So the father within the family that's tagging along with the main cast is revealed that he nearly gets his leg ripped off during the whole mosasaur boat incident. Then later you see this guy swimming away from a T-Rex after the thing's gotten banged to rights in some kind of little eddy area. Basically, the T-Rex stood up there like the giant bronze statue in Bravos, looking straight at the dad, and the only way he can get past it is within this narrow corridor underwater. And the T-Rex has already put his head under there looking at him like he's going to scran him, and somehow he gets away. In pretty much the exact same scene, his daughter is hiding underneath this big yellow raft, and the T-Rex picks it up with its mouth and tries to bite through it while she's still in it. She also survives that. There's also a part where they're paddling away in said yellow raft, and the T-Rex takes ages to catch up to them, even when it's swimming underwater like a giant crocodile. It's actually insane, this scene. I was genuinely felt like just checking out there and then. And how do they get away? Well, they managed to swim through these big giant rocks that somehow the T-Rex can't stick its head through far enough. All right, okay, well, has it discovered pathfinding? Could it not walk around and still eat you? Especially after you've pissed it off enough getting away from it twice. I reckon it's still going to have another crack at you. Anyhow, that's the T-Rex bit out of the way. Probably the only good bit of it that is destroyed because of plot armor. Later, we have the annoying teenage boyfriend lad, which, well, we were kind of wishing he was going to die. He decides he's going to take a piss in the middle of the jungle, and a couple of dinosaurs start creeping up on him, only for those dinosaurs to get third-partied by another dinosaur. Well, that was incredibly lucky. Then we have the main character, Scarlett Johansson herself. During the mosasaur scene, she is flicked out the bow of the ship, or boat, whatever you want to call it. I'm not very naval. And she is somehow able to get pulled away from the mosasaur before it's able to eat her. They also have all the main characters land on the beach after the Spinosaur attack, and the Spinosaurs only kill one of them? Okay. Then the final case of plot armor, I think, has got to come from... Or no, in fact, there's two, sorry. The Mutadon attack, and Scarlett Johansson is somehow able to use a 6 billion-year-old Glock that has been rusting away in the jungle for how long it's been rusting away for. And the ammunition and working parts still work just fine. And she's able to take out one of the Mutadon things just in time to save the family. Once again, that was really, really cool. Then we have what happens with the D-Rex. There's a couple of moments with this where it only wants to kill the bad guy, and then Duncan, that's Mahershala Ali's character, is very much dead to rights. And instead of, well, deciding to do what the D-Rex should do, it, well, decides to have a bit of a sit down and a chat with him.
I am so lonely. All the other Viltrumites are scared of me. No one talks to me.
Next up, we have the characters, and they're not good. We have a absolute powerhouse of acting, which is Scarlett Johansson, and whoever wrote her lines was clearly just snorting a ton of crack or no idea what they were doing, or both. Couldn't empathize. But anyhow, we have genuine scenes where we could be building the characters, and instead, Scarlett Johansson openly admits that she has very serious PTSD from her last mission. Not being funny, but I don't know anything about you. I don't give a fuck. If you wanted to have her with PTSD, you've probably, I don't know, maybe you got to show some signs of her having it. Like her randomly breaking down or staring into nothingness. I mean, I know I was talking shit in my last video about the boys, but at least with Soldier Boy, they kind of did a pretty good job of this. Or maybe have her just taking medication. But nah. It also seems at this point that I can't decide if she is really a dickhead or not. In the opening, when they're in the museum, it's revealed, or before then, rather, when they're stood out at a pier looking at the water, all fanciful, it is brought up that her mum, in fact, died from some kind of heart disease. Scarlett Johansson's real mother has also passed away, so yeah, rest in peace. But anyway, the Zora, we'll call her mum actually died from heart disease, and that's the reason why she wants to go on this quest to extract tons of dinosaur blood to help fight heart disease with shady businessman. All right, that's whatever. What does catch me as bizarre with that whole bit is Scarlet flip flops from only caring about the money to, in the very end, wanting to give this heart disease stuff to all the public for a reasonable price. And wouldn't that just be real nice? But unfortunately, that isn't how the world works. From working out how our world works, we understand that everything costs a ton of money and everything takes forever. If you make this readily available or give it to governments, then there is a strong chance that they're just going to make it shit, or they're going to spend all the money in making this magic heart disease medication out of all this dinosaur blood. And villain guy is in this movie, and it's believed that he is, well, the villain, because he doesn't save a girl who is directly compromising their mission by surviving. And at the end, when they realize that they can escape, he takes all the dinosaur blood, handcuffs it to himself, and holds people at gunpoint. Yeah, pretty villainous stuff right there. We're forgetting one thing is he doesn't shoot everyone and leave them for dead. He actually says, let's all get on the helicopter and let's be rich together. Wow, what a fucking villain. Also, he wants to have the fruits of his labor, i.e., all this dinosaur blood, get him rich. Wow, that's really villainous. Well, wasn't everyone technically villainous because they agreed to this mission? And it's portrayed as if, like, I hate to say one faction betraying the other, but it is kind of how it is viewed because it seems like he's the kind of mega villain now, even though everything's kind of going the exact same way it was planned. But now that the good guys have got a problem with him because he didn't save this teenage girl in a situation that more than likely would have just dragged him off the boat too. Or what if he's a giant coward? Has that been factored into it? What if this guy is just a huge pussy that was terrified? They don't think of that for a second. They just immediately go, he's the bad guy now, so the D-Rex is justified in D-Rexing the crap out of him, so yeah, fuck him. While we're on the subject of this diabolical villainous madman, there's also he uses to hold everybody up at the end isn't one that he originally brought to the island with him. It's one that he found and is somehow working. There's also the part during the Quetzal scene where he finds the stairs into the temple and off the mountain. And instead of using them when things start turning a bit, well, hasty, he instead does his damnedest to save Leclerc's life. Instead of doing what normal bad guys would do, like William Burke, and try to save his own skin. Like I said earlier in the finale, when he's holding everybody up, he doesn't suggest, right, every one of you stay over there and get eaten by the monsters. He says, we'll all get rich together and get on the helicopter. All we've got to do is wait. Yeah, sounds real villainous.
You are bad guy, but this does not mean you're bad guy.
I know I touched briefly on the Quetzal incident earlier, but just the general dynamics of the characters around each other, it doesn't really seem like they give that much of a fuck. And I know I mentioned the French guy earlier, and yeah, Transformers did it better with a guy that speaks a different language within the team. It doesn't really make a lot of sense if that's all he speaks, because how the hell is he going to communicate information with anybody around him if they don't speak the same language? But I digress. So Leclerc, that name made me laugh because it's actually the name of a French-made battle tank. That'd be like calling the British guy Challenger 2. Anyway, decides he's going to sacrifice himself to the Quetzal to save the lives of Zora and Museum Gentleman. And after he is swallowed alive by the giant reptile bird, we have this cool scene where everyone runs down the temple steps. Museum curator Amigo falls through these trees, Navi style, and Scarlett Johansson rappels down and lands soft as a dainty little daisy. Seconds later, they no longer give a fuck. Little Leclerc is just dead. Which, bear in mind, this is another one of your friends that has been Tembo in this moment killed incredibly pragmatic, very rapidly. Ian Malcolm is trying to within the last couple of hours some compassion, and considering Eddie Carr just got turned into a wishbone. Leclerc's however, gone. Roland Tembo understands that. Yeah, let's compare and contrast. He's sorry about world doing this, but
oh, you're breaking our heart. Saddle up. Let's get this movable feast underway.
The thing to do is move your fucking arse, lads. Rebirth is clearly superior because after showing that Leclerc is one of Marshall Ali's closest friends when they're hanging out on the boat, it doesn't show him reacting at all to his death, nor does it show the museum guy, bad guy, or Zora giving two whiffs of a fat shit that this guy's just saved their lives and is now, well, working its way around the lower intestine of a Quetzal. Well, he's French, so he's probably enjoying it. I mentioned museum guy earlier, but well, he's not that bad. He's there, and he knows a bit about dinosaurs. He also jizzes in his pants when he puts his hand on the titanosaur that somehow is able to hide in 3 feet of grass despite being the largest sauropod on the planet. Phew. This guy also has a weird, annoying habit of chewing mints at volume 11, and the film stops and lets you know how funny this is actually meant to be because it's so awkward. Get it? There's also a bit of a relationship going on between him and Zora, and that kind of gets noticed at the end when he changes her mind to make the heart disease medication allowed to be released to the public and they can do what they want with it. To be honest, I don't think anyone in the cinema gave a fuck by this point, so it was just kind of like, oh yeah, the heart stuff. Oh yeah, shit, yeah. Yeah, I totally remembered. But this guy's main thing is he wants to get money for his museum so that we can bring more people back to it. Because it used to be really popular, didn't you know, before all the dinosaurs became, well, boring. And once I'm on the subject and once the idea is fresh in my head, why the hell would dinosaurs ever become boring? I mean, how many people go to zoos every day? It's a fucking lot of them. I mean, they bring their kids, they bring their families, they go on first dates, all manner of stuff. And I mean, those animals that we're seeing in the zoo, we've probably seen 100 million times before on the telly and everything else. Now, imagine if you literally brought back prehistoric fucking walls of lizard meat and they're cutting about doing dinosaur shit. I mean, I'm pretty sure that would be interesting. I mean, even if you were able to recapture the mosasaur, which, let's be honest here, with modern tech couldn't be that fucking difficult, and would put it back into a pretty big tank and have it do mosasaur stuff, that'd be interesting enough, no? What about sauropods, just watching them cut about? I mean, people are still tuning in to watch these fucking movies, so I don't fucking know why there's not like that. Sorry, I don't know what happened there. I'm gonna lump in the family as the final character because, well, who cares about him? So we got the dad, we got the two daughters, and we got the teenage daughter's boyfriend, who's an absolute bell end, but he comes along anyway. So when you're first introduced to these, it's on the dad's private vessel, and he's sailing through dangerous mosasaur territory because he's just amazing. And the boyfriend then comes out for his shift at the wheel and basically says, nah, mate, don't want anything to do with that shite. That sounds pure gay, that does. I'm just gonna chill out here because I'm pure tired. You cool with all that? Then the daughter says, hey, dad, like, you totally can't speak to my boyfriend like that. Like, you gotta be pure nice and all that shit. And then boyfriend grabs some licorice out of the young daughter's hand, walks back into the lower decks, probably to get his head down again. And the dad then completely submits and says, I'm not saying a word, man. I mean, see, when I first seen this in the cinema, like I actually mimed pushing him into my wife, and she immediately nodded. I was like, yeah, push him and the fucking daughter in. Fuck them both. Complete cunts. For one, he's a dickhead and she's an enabler. Anyhow, this also is another one of the bones of contention I had with the stupid comedy surrounding the mints. We also get a random point when teenage Bella says, hey, you guys smoke some weed when they're in a survival situation. And this pause here is meant to be, I don't know, for comedy. I was just kind of looking at my screen going, what is happening here, my friend? And then the teenage daughter also has a mega brain move where she decides to inflate a raft right next to a T-Rex, and the T-Rex wakes up, and we're supposed to be surprised by this. The most surprising part of that scene, like I touched on earlier, was the fact that everyone made it out with all their limbs. Dad also has a severely broken leg from the boat crash incident, yet by the end of the movie, he's able to run and move just fine. He also has a heart-to-heart with his teenage son, where his teenage daughter's boyfriend, where he's saying he's lazy, but he says, oh, don't let other people stick a finger in you, blah, blah, blah. When in reality, you should be gripping the prick by the throat and say, if you fuck up one more time, I will leave you here to die. I don't care. I mean, personally, that's what a good father would do. You do whatever you can to save your fucking children. And bear in mind that one of the children that you have with you is younger than 10. And also, bizarrely as well, one of them gets some kind of proceratopsy thingy, and it ends up sitting in her backpack the whole time that she calls Dolores. Well, I was actually surprised because I was watching Chaos Theory, and there's another dinosaur with similar attributes that they describe as being looking harmless, but is able to absolutely chop your bloody fingers off. So that's what I was thinking Dolores was going to do to this little girl the whole time. And it brings into another trope that I really hate about dinosaur movies is that they say that or pretend that herbivores are the good dinosaurs. Well, no, because in nature, a herbivore is totally safe to walk up to and start petting. No, they're fucking not. If you don't believe me, go try and pet a moose, or go try and ride a bison, or go up and start smacking a horse from behind. Do any of those things and see what happens to you. Even animals that we think are dead cute end up also being incredibly aggressive. Casual Geographic has told me to Google otter and attack and see how much stuff comes up. All right? Just because an animal's a herbivore, just because it's tiny and cute, doesn't mean it won't rip your bloody fingers off, or your face off, or all of those things. But somehow, in this case, the little girl's totally fine with this dinosaur and she's able to take it back. And even if we say that, is that not incredibly illegal? I don't know how much the rules have changed here, but in Chaos Theory, people are allowed to keep ankylosaurs as farm animals and dinosaurs just kind of everywhere. But in Jurassic Park, taking raptor eggs back to the mainland was like seen as a huge no-no. And in Fallen Kingdom, there was people selling all these dangerous animals like to every part of the world. Wait a minute. Why has that not become a plot point? Was that a thing in Dominion? Oh, who cares? I didn't really watch that film anyway. Right, I'm going to be the first to admit that I may have got a little off subject there, but the family in this are totally unnecessary. It only seems like the teenage girl is just there, or rather, the family's just there, so that way we can have a turning point for the bad guy. This could be done a million times better to the bad guy to reveal his true colors. I mean, they did it in Aliens when he was trying to smuggle the embryos inside people on the way back. Maybe you could do something similar with grabbing a ton of the research. I mean, the Suicide Squad did this better by having Peacemaker decide that all this information must be destroyed. I mean, you could have had something like that, but no. Maybe if he even just went for no reason whatsoever, I'm going to leave everyone on the island. Or maybe the stupid heart disease stuff. How about that? What about he wants to make it privately owned by his company so he can become mega rich, and everybody else has suddenly decided that they want to sell it to everyone and make it mainstream and be all nice and lovey and gimpy and whatever. It's still a shit fucking story, but it would mean we could at least focus on the main cast without having these weird plot armored Deus Ex Machinas cutting about everywhere. And yes, Xavier should have died. I hated that character. You thought I was done. I was also thinking as well, even if you have to keep these characters in there, maybe you can have some kind of resolution where the dad finds his balls again, considering he's having to save his two daughters. And I don't know, maybe the teenage daughter starts respecting him again, therefore making Xavier respect him again. But instead, they're just thrown into a scenario, then dad gets all weepy. Anyway, right, for real this time, this is all I'm going to say on them. The nitpick I'm going to go with, but because it's a multi-million-dollar picture, I think it's absolutely valid that I bring this up. Some of the dinosaur size scaling's really weird. Like, I'm talking really, really weird. And I know everyone said about the Titanosaurs hiding in 3 foot tall grass or 4 foot tall or whatever it is. I don't really give a flying shit. That's one thing. The other thing was that when I was watching this in the cinema, when the Quetz appears inside the temple, it appears, a certain size. Then when it gets out on the cliff, it looks like it almost triples. Now, I know for a fact I'm not waist deep in fucking drugs or hallucinogens or anything like that, right? But is it just me that noticed that Quetzal suddenly becoming massive from being tiny? And I have no idea why. I've heard no other reviewer mention this. Who am I kidding? I'm not even a bloody reviewer. All I wanted to say is I want to put a picture up of a Snickers for no apparent reason whatsoever, because maybe it may make you want to have a Snickers, or maybe it may make you want to have a Dr. Pepper, a Snickers and a Dr. Pepper. This may seem very, very weird to bring this stuff up, but I mean, fuck it. We're talking about dinosaurs here, so why not enjoy watching dinosaurs with a Snickers and a fucking Dr. Pepper? And that brings me to the final point is, even if you just watch this for the dinosaurs and the dino action, it's still not even interesting enough for that. If you're watching it just purely for the dino action, kill off Xavier. They should have killed Xavier 3 fucking times, and that would have made everyone at least go, oh, thank God for that. Just personal opinion. Don't forget to have a Snickers and a Dr. Pepper. Interesting fact, I'm not being a hater just to be a hater. This is the first time I've actually lost my cool giving a review. And me cutting myself off in the middle of it, that was genuine. I fully went off script, off the rails and everything. I've been a Jurassic Park fan, should I add, since I was about 5 or 6 years old when it came out. Yeah, I'm showing my age there. And I love this franchise. It's brilliant. I even fucking watched Chaos Theory and Camp Cretaceous with my daughter. I was looking forward to my Dinosaur 2025. And so far, Chaos Theory, thumbs up. Jurassic World Rebirth, total shite. Walking with Dinosaurs, got so bored I couldn't finish it. And all hopes are pretty much landing on the shoulders of Primitive War. So I'm pretty goddamn upset here. And there's another nitpick as well. Even if I was watching this purely for the dino action, there's barely any fucking dinosaurs in it. And the dinosaurs don't even kill anyone. I mean, the little girl, when she gave her sacrifice when she was opening the gate, should have got gobbled up by the D-Rex. What's his face? Xavier should have died just out of pure principle. The grown man, the dad or whatever, maybe he should have given his life during the T-Rex raft incident, or maybe the teenage daughter should have. Or do you know what? Better yet, have Xavier do something like that. Mahershala Ali should not have escaped the D-Rex purely because I'm race. I mean, because he backed himself into a corner with a flare, and that thing had him banked to rights. There was no way he was getting out of that. And also, if we were going to have self-sacrifice go full circle, why not give that to the mega villain corporation guy? If he sees his little girl in trouble, what if he jumped in and he gave his own life to save that wee girl, maybe showing that he actually cared more about the product than the money? Wouldn't that have been interesting? Or have it be Scarlett Johansson, instead of having her revelation be, we got to put this out for everyone, cheaply. Okay, well, good luck with that. I hope it goes well. So my closing question becomes, have they revamped the Jurassic World franchise, and has it been given new life, and does its future look prosperous?